yes, I think the football education that Balogun received and his formation is much superior to Pepe. But he's not.
Take that out of the equation.
I don't think he's that much better than Pepe.
Take that out of the equation.
Fine. Is he that
where he came from and what he's done.
You're the one that posed that.
Because of his technical ability is far superior to Ricardo Pepi.
Well, yesterday the U.S. men's national team roster dropped for their upcoming Nations League semifinal matches against Jamaica. Here's a look at the names in the mix. The goalkeepers, we've got Diego Pochon, he's that Barcelona 2 keeper, alongside Patrick Schulte, Zach Steffen getting another call-up. Matt Turner. Defenders, we've got Chris Richards back in the mix, which is good to see. The forwards are some interesting selections because there's a lot of guys that are not available. So big opportunities for guys like Cade Cowell and Alejandro Zendejas. And then in the midfield, a lot of familiar names here, but a notable absence is Tyler Adams, who has been playing for Bournemouth, but the decision was made not to include him in this roster. So clearly for Mauricio Pochettino, Tyler Adams is a guy he rates. He tried to get him to come over to Chelsea. He sees him as an important piece for this U.S. men's national team, but just didn't want to risk it. Right decision, Charlie, to not include him in this roster?
Yeah, it's the right decision. He's just coming back. I mean, he's got to build up his match fitness, his
But what about Odegaard?
What about Odegaard?
We did a headline that he just got called back to Norway.
Odegaard had an ankle issue. We're talking about somebody who has severe history of injuries and muscular injuries, not an ankle. So it's a big difference in terms of being out for over a year and a half.
You triggered him very easily.
I'm just asking.
You said Martin Odegaard, and
I'm just asking because
it's apples to oranges. You're saying somebody who just missed a couple of weeks because of an ankle injury, a severe ankle injury, who's back playing and started against Chelsea, played full 90, versus somebody who's had back issues, who had hamstring issues, who had surgery on his back, who's just getting back, who in the last Nations League played and then was out for another year.
Right.
So that's why you got to be very, very smart in the way that you deal with Tyler Adams, knowing how important he is and knowing the type of player he is and how his body is. So that means they're communicating with the medical team at Bournemouth, the U.S. soccer medical team, and they're saying, okay, what's best for Tyler Adams? And Bournemouth said him not going to Nations League is certainly best for him. That's why how they came to that decision.
You know what? And if I'm Poch at this point, understanding that history, I'm not taking anything for granted, and I'm understanding what this team is like without Tyler Adams first and foremost, because it's not.
There's a good chance that might be happening.
That he might not go to the World Cup, that he might not go to Gold Cup, because odds are with his track record of injuries that you might not have him. So it behooves Poch to understand. I would love to have him. I think the U.S. is a different team with Tyler Adams on the field, but you don't have that luxury oftentimes.
I think we also said on this show that there was one player that was written in pen. You're going to bring Pulisic. Everyone else is up to question. It's nice to know that Tyler Adams is also on that list in written in pen, if he's healthy when the time comes. And I think that's the most important part.
If this was a World Cup qualifier, a must-win.
Yeah, of course.
He's there.
Different.
Hold up. This is an official game. This is for points.
Of course.
This is to make it into a Final Four of Nations League.
But you heard Pochettino, his own words, come for nothing.
Yeah.
That's from his own mouth.
Can you say it in an Argentine accent?
I was going to say, yeah.
For nothing.
For nothing. For him.
Don't come for nothing.
Let's chat on some of the other notable injuries, specifically up top, because no Folarin Balogun, no Josh Sargent, no Haji Wright. What's the player pool left? Who needs to step up? Charlie, who is this an opportunity for?
It's a big opportunity for Ricardo Pepi.
Okay.
But also for Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
Because now he is 100% the substitute you bring in for Ricardo Pepi at the striker position to change the game. And Brandon Vasquez is the only one from the last camp to show, hey, I warrant a call-up, which is why he's in this camp. So I'm excited for Brandon Vasquez because this is a big opportunity for him. But I'm also equally excited for Ricardo Pepi to continue to close the gap with Balogun if he can do well. Right? This is a big opportunity for both of those players.
So what does the pecking order become? Let's say Ricardo Pepi does do well. Let's say Brandon Vasquez does contribute. What does that do? What does that do? Is Balogun still number one? He's still number one.
Still number one. He'll be still number one until he's given an opportunity and doesn't produce. But in Pochettino's eyes, he's at Monaco, who's top 9 or 8 right now in the Champions League.
How can you say that necessarily with so much confidence? Because come March,
You know how I can say that with so much confidence? Because he was at Arsenal, and Yunus Musa was at Arsenal, and
they
not
weren't good
playing.
enough.
And look at where Yunus Musa is now in the pecking order of Pochettino before he played in this game against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. He was already saying, I need to figure out a way to play Yunus Musa no matter what. No matter how much playing time he's getting at Milan, if he's not playing at all. There's an understanding with Pochettino, knowing what your IQ is, what your technical ability is, pedigree.
For sure.
Regardless of anything else.
Right.
So in his mind, Balogun is a starter.
That's okay, and I get
because of the
that.
academy he went through? Is that what you're suggesting?
Simply due to his
From
form
football
and what he's been able to
football
do so
education.
far.
Okay.
Like
I was trying to understand what you were saying.
I buy that from an outside perspective, kind of just like surface level. I get and like
He's technically superior to everybody else in this group.
And he's probably someone that he can trust more than the other players.
We're not arguing that whatsoever. I agree with everything you're saying. But come March, there's going to be players in different forms.
Yeah.
And I don't think that pecking order is as written in pen. It's fluid. It's written in pencil, really, because
especially as strikers when you're in and out of form.
Exactly.
Can I take what you're saying
come
and flip
March,
the question?
and
Can I flip the question and say, is there anything that Pepe or Vasquez can do outside of Balogun not performing that would get them to rise to the top of that pecking order?
Well, I mean, for Pepe, it's playing every week at PSV.
Okay.
He's got to play over at the captain, Luke de Jong. So how do you think?
Right, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
So then Brandon Vasquez, kind of in a rock and a hard place. All he can do is continue to perform in Liga MX and score goals.
But what I'm saying is, come March, Balogun has a bad game in an eventual potential CONCACAF Nations League semifinal, and Pepe comes in and smashes it second half, smashes it.
Great. Then he's going to be, in his mind as well, a super sub. What he's been at PSV. A super sub.
It is damned if you will, damned if you
Okay, what if Pepe absolutely smashes it now against Jamaica?
Great, that's great for him. And he goes back to PSV and he sits on the bench.
And then Balogun's out of form come March.
You can throw all the hypotheticals in the world.
What I'm saying is, I agree that Balogun, and I think it's a very similar debate that we've had forever with Balogun, right? Yes, I think the football education that Balogun received and his formation is much superior to Pepe. But he's not.
Take that out of the equation.
I don't think he's that much better than Pepe.
Take that out of the equation.
Fine. Is he that
where he came from and what he's done.
You're the one that posed that.
Because of his technical ability is far superior to Ricardo Pepe. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, fine. But is he better than Pepe? Is he far superior than Pepe? I don't know if he's far superior than Pepe.
Also, you say Pepe's needs to get more on the playing field. In the last 3 matches in the Eredivisie, he's got 3 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, he seems to be getting his way back in.
He's taking advantage of his
It's
moments.
very good.
Yeah, but you're not the starting striker.
He was both in 2 of those matches.
What does it mean for a Josh Sargent or a Haji Wright, who
you gotta
were
start somewhere.
contributing regularly on their teams, but then have now been injured? Where do they fall then in the pecking order?
Well, like I've said for months now, it feels like if you're playing in the championship, I think Haji Wright and Josh Sargent in particular have peaked in the championship. They've scored. They've had tremendous seasons last year. Both had 15 goals. Great. But we want to see those two go play in a different league, in a top division, where you're also competing for Europe. You're playing in Europe.
Is Ricardo Pepe above them then in the pecking order because he's at PSV?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's scoring goals. I think for me, Ricardo Pepe did it in World Cup qualifying. So there's a track record. There's a history.
You'd rather your striker be on the bench in the Eredivisie
Champions League.
than but getting limited minutes in the Champions League.
Still playing.
Getting
but
minutes in Champions League.
very limited minutes in the Champions League.
We could make that argument for Yunus Musa as well.
Versus starting.
Why'd you go neighbor in a Christmas movie?
Versus starting and scoring and being a critical player to the success of your team like Josh Sargent is at Norwich.
And he's done that and is still not performed
He's healthy
with the men's national team.
And then the caveat is, anytime he's had the U.S. men's national team opportunity, it hasn't gone his way.
Fair.
So you could say the same thing,
but not about Haji.
At this point, Haji and I think Haji and Josh Sargent either have to get promoted out of the championship or move on to a different.
Right, but then that goes against what the quotes from Pochettino that we broke down on this show, where he was kind of giving a nod to, I'd rather you be playing than not playing.
So you're saying you can't leave the championship to find a club that you will be playing in? That's also competing in Europe? Right?
Charlie, you've put together a projected 11 for the U.S. and how they might line up against Jamaica. Can we take a look and walk us through it?
So in seeing how Pochettino has played over the past couple of camps, Anthony Robinson, Locke, I think Matt Turner's your starting goalkeeper, especially given that Stefan, Schulte, and Cochin are in the camp. Stefan and Schulte are both not playing right now. They're in the offseason, and Cochin is still young, but it's good for him to be involved. McKenzie has played really well in playing every week in Liga. Tim Ream, I think Pochettino really likes Tim Ream. You could see he trusts him. In the midfield, I see McKinney being a little bit higher and playing with Tillman. He's gone away from being that 6 or that double pivot midfielder. I think he's playing higher up the pitch. So Busio, Tessman, Johnny Cardoso, those are the 3 that I think they're vying for that position. But I think Busio has done really well over the past year. So I'm giving him the nod because he's better in possession, better passer than some of those other players. Then Tillman is playing every week and he's playing well. So as a number 10, if it's been Aronson, I think Tillman's better on the ball. I think he gives defenses more problems, more things to think about. So Christian Pulisic at the left, Ricardo Pepi up top, as we talked about, and then Yunus Musa, who played 90 minutes at Real Madrid. And we already know that Pochettino loves Yunus Musa and his quality, given the lack of minutes he plays every week at Milan for the most part.
Can I ask you, are you a little worried that Robinson and Scally were the only fullbacks brought into the camp?
Well, it leads me to believe that maybe we're going to see 3 at the back,
which is what I was coming to.
Which is fantastic. But
if so,
it's
who's
also,
the 3?
You're also wondering, is this the right time?
But who's the 3?
Right now,
you trust Tim Ream?
You have to, you have to trust Tim Ream. He's been the best center back of all the backs we have.
Okay, so you have
Chris
Ream,
Richards isn't
McKenzie
quite
trusted?
fit yet. So it's good to see that he's back in the camp, but he hasn't played all. So right now, Trusty, Ream, and McKenzie. Trusty's played Champions League. He's just won 3-1 playing against Luis Openda and Šeško, RB Leipzig. So he's fit, he's match fit, and he's playing well. Miles Robinson is now free because he's out of the playoffs. So
Reminder, Scally played right center back for Poch.
He's also done that.
And then you could put Yunus Musa. That's how you fit in Yunus Musa to the right wing back role that he kind of was using him for.
It's also important to note that Tim Weah is suspended for this first game.
Right.